Hi there. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get started in the class. I'm going to show you how to get into D2L in case you haven't done that before and go through the course information module. Okay, so I'm logged into my PCC and there's two ways to get into D2L, at least that I know of. I'm sure there's more. One is to use the computer icon in the upper right-hand corner of my PCC. Another way is to scroll down a little bit on the left to click quick links. And PCC sites, the first one says D2L Brightspace login, okay? D2L is called D2L or Brightspace or D2L Brightspace. That's how a lot of people refer to it, by either any of those names. And once you click on that, you will get into all the classes that you are signed up for this term, okay? So I'm going to go to Stat 243. You'll see I'm in the development shell because I'm creating this right now, but it'll be specific to our class when you get into the class. Okay, so this is our class homepage, and this is where you're going to get started. In this welcome announcement, always every time you log in, check for announcements right here. I'll post those once or twice a week. And so get started in this welcome announcement. I am making a series of videos right here that's going to replace some older versions. And there are also some basic resources that might be helpful for you right up here at the top. On the right-hand side is how to connect with me and my office hours, Zoom link. All this will be updated by the time our class is starting. Okay, and then also on the homepage, the navigation bar across the top has a lot of helpful links. So Course Home takes you back to this page. Content has all of our lecture videos, notes, and all the content for the class. So you'll use that a lot. Desmos Labs is where you go for the labs for the class. Then My Open Math is our online homework. Discussions is also part of the lab. Assignments. Zoom is one way you can get to a Zoom link to meet with me. The other way is just right here on the homepage. Our online textbook, and grades is where you go to check your grade. Okay, so this is roughly in the order that you'll use things each week, and I'll show you that in this course information overview. So roughly you'll go to content first, do kind of your labs, My Open Math, and discussions. Those can kind of all go together. Then you'll upload your quiz work here under assignments, use the textbook for reference, get help, and check your grades. Okay, so once you have, or as you're going through these videos, like the one right now, we're going to go through the course information module, which is how to get started. So the first time you go to content, you'll see this overview. It's a little bit about the class, and I am trying to raise voices of people of color because white voices have often been centered. And so this is a really great statistician named David Blackwell. So please feel free to read about him. There's a little more of a biography on at this link. And he is a great statistician. There's a theorem named after him. So that is what you'll see first. So take some time to read that. Then the first module, so the modules are on the left here. The first one says Student Resources for Online Learning. Okay, this is for every online class. It's not specific to our class, but it has some really useful information, especially if you're new to D2L Brightspace. So you can look at these links, and there's one that we'll use, and I have some more links as well for uploading, turning your work, if you write work on paper, turning that into a PDF so you can upload it. Okay, so you can always come back to those resources, or you can do that first if you like. Then for our class, specific to our class, we're going to start here in Module 0, which is Course Information. Okay, so this page has the Course Information module, and this is what you're going to be working on in the first few days of the class. So please finish this by the first Wednesday of the term. Reach out to me if you're having trouble meeting that deadline, okay? Students can be dropped for not meeting an initial deadline because there's something called a no-show, which applies to online classes as well. It's participation rather than coming to something in person. Okay, so let's walk through these items. So course information introduction. This gives you the learning outcomes of this particular model, and then also the activities that we'll be doing in this module. So I'll let you go ahead and read that. And here are the learning outcomes for the entire class. Okay, so here's our course outcomes and then our module level outcomes. So these get pretty detailed in what we're going to learn in each thing. Okay, and you can get to the next item by using the little right arrow at the top or the bottom of the page, or you can go back to the whole list right here. So sometimes I like to go back and see where I am in the list. Okay. Next is the Indigenous Land Acknowledgement, and I've added a data sovereignty acknowledgement to that because it's important not only to recognize the land that was taken, but also the fact that every community should be in charge of their own data. So I'll let you read this wonderful land acknowledgement, and there are also some information and resources here on what you can actually do in addition to the acknowledgement. What can we do to help? And then as far as data, which has become a global currency, so I want to acknowledge the right of each Native nation and really every community to govern the collection, ownership, and application of their own data. This is called Indigenous Data Sovereignty. And you'll see some more about data justice in this class. Okay, so take some time to go through that. I'm not going to read everything in detail. I'll let you do that. Then here's some information about me. And you're welcome to read this and get to know me a little bit better. There's me at the beach, one of my favorite places. And one thing I wrote in there is that I had to always get help with math. And so there's nothing wrong with getting help. And in college, you're not expected to do everything by yourself. In fact, I think part of it is learning to reach out and use all of your resources, whether that's personal at home or campus resources or community resources. Okay, so here's our syllabus. So again, I'm going to let you read through the whole thing. I shared this quote in the previous video, so I'll give you a little overview. At the top is information about the class itself. I want to make sure this modality is right for you. So this is a web or online class. And the word online has become really ambiguous since the pandemic. Sometimes it means meeting with Zoom when people say it. Sometimes it doesn't. At PCC, online or web means there are no meetings, okay? It's called asynchronous, which means people are doing things on their own time at different times. Synchronous is if we had a Zoom meeting together, that would be called a remote class at PCC. Okay, so it's important to make sure you're signed up for the modality that you intended to sign up for. This is an online class, meaning we don't have regular meetings, but I am here to support you in person if you want. In person, I'm at the Southeast campus, or on Zoom, by the phone, by email, etc. Okay, so here's our course information. We do have proctoring requirements, but you can take your test virtually with me on Zoom if you like. If not, there is an in-person option. So I've got more information coming on that. Here's all my information and how to contact me. You can call me Cara. My name rhymes with Sarah, so you can call me Cara, or you can call me Ms. Lee. Whichever you feel more comfortable with is fine with me. Here's my phone number. You can text. I have a separate Google Voice number for texting. I do just ask for texting during weekday business hours, but you can email anytime, okay? And then I'll get it the next time I'm online. And I will have my help hours here when our class is ready. Here's the tutoring center information. That's a great resource. And then please do reach out if you get stuck. So let the phone and Zoom be your friend. Even if you feel totally stuck, I can usually get someone unstuck in a 10 to 15 minute call, okay? And if it's a little bit longer, that's fine too. But you might feel just like super stuck, but we can really just work through it pretty quickly. So don't wait, don't let it snowball, don't let it pile up to where it's too hard to get caught up. If you get stuck, just reach out right away, okay? There's no question too small or too big. Email is great as well, however you feel best contacting me. Okay, as far as materials, our book is free online, and there is a supplemental book that's a chapter in a different free online book that we'll also be using. Okay, I'll show you more about the resources in My Open Math in a little bit. Here's our course description. Okay, class organization. This is a really important part, and I'm going to go to the calendar and show you that as well. It's listed in both places. Here's a list of all the technology. The student help desk is really helpful. If you're having trouble accessing Zoom or another technological issue, they are wonderful. And I call the faculty help desk all the time. So they're really helpful. And then there's also a description of each learning activity, each type of thing we'll have in the class. Okay, and I'll be explaining this as we go. Also talk about virtual proctoring, how that's going to work, late work and makeup policy. Okay, so I do have a flexible policy, and at the same time I have high expectations. So if you find that the work is piling up, you have a deadline with just too many things that you can't meet, please do reach out to me and let me know what you need. If it's I need until Wednesday or I need 2 more days, let me know what you need and I'll work with you, okay? The best practice is to contact your instructor before something is due and ask for an extension, okay? And I'll explain the late passes that are in My Open Math when we get to that point. Okay, and so at the same time, don't skip something unless we meet and we decide it's probably better just to move on to the next thing. I do expect, with the flexibility goes high expectations, I expect you to complete everything because everything is an important element of the class, and some things will build on each other. Not everything, but a lot of things will build on each other. Okay. But if you ever have any doubts or you feel you're just too far behind, please reach out to me and I can help you. Here's the grading criteria, the number of points for everything, and the scale. And then our PCC information. Non-discrimination is really, really important. I believe everyone belongs here. And so that means you belong here. And if you have any experience that is counter to that, we do have some avenues for you. So one thing, I would be happy to work with you. So if you are experiencing something, feel free to contact me, especially if it's in our class. I would like to help with that. If it's something beyond that, you're also welcome to contact me, or you can also contact the Office of Equity and Inclusion. There's a phone number and an email. And there's also a link, especially for Title IX, which is gender-based discrimination. So you can find a link there as well. Okay, and then a lot more PCC policies and guidelines like grading, registration, payment, rights and responsibilities. Academic integrity is very important, especially in college, so make sure you're completing your own work. And accessibility, if you're working with Accessible Ed, I'm more than happy to work with you and your accommodations. So send me your accommodations and I will work with you on that. And you'll see a lot of links around accessibility of different tools that are used in the class. Okay, a link to the Student Life webpage. Often students who feel connected on campus do better in their classes. So if you're interested in getting involved in a club or having employment on campus, then this is a good place to start, the Student Life webpage. Okay, and flexibility. If we had a snow day or something else came up, I might need to modify the course or the calendar. Okay, great. So that is our syllabus. So take some time to read through that in more detail. And then this is what I want to show you about our general weekly pattern. So the class is going to follow the same pattern every week. Okay. Each module is going to go from Wednesday to Wednesday. So the first module 0 will be the first Monday to Wednesday. Then we'll go Wednesday to Wednesday to Wednesday to Wednesday after that. Okay. So on Wednesdays, you're going to begin the module. And they're open early if they're ready. As long as they're ready, they're open early. So you can go start ahead if you want. If you're ahead, that's great too. So on Wednesdays, you're going to begin. And you'll start by watching the lecture videos and taking notes, okay? All the lecture material you need is on video, okay? And then the notes pages, I'll show you when we get to that. The notes pages are available to you to print or buy from the bookstore. So you can write on the exact same pages that I'm writing on in the videos, okay? That saves you. You can also write on plain paper. But if you are able to get the pages, that saves you from writing extra stuff, and it gives you the context, it gives you graphs, all things like that right on the paper, okay? So I do highly recommend those, and I recommend keeping them in order. So get them 3-hole punched, put them in a binder so that you keep track of those in order. Okay, you're going to reach out for help, either office hours, which is Zoom help hours, or tutoring, posting questions in the forums, anything like that. And then by Sunday, the lab and the MyOpen Math are going to be due. So the labs are going to be in Desmos, and I'll show you a little bit about how that's going to work. They have really cool interactive things. You can do matching, sliders, just really cool things that help understand the concepts better. So that the lab, and then some labs will have a discussion as well, and then the MyOpen Math. So those will be due by Sunday night. And then by the following Wednesday is when the final discussion post will be due in those certain weeks when we have a discussion. And then you'll have a module quiz. So each week you'll have a quiz, and that will be sort of your final demonstration of work, and then I will give you detailed feedback on that. Okay, more to come on that. And then we do have 2 exams required. So all math classes have required proctored exams. So we will have 2 tests, and they'll be on Zoom. But you can also choose to take it in person if you want to go to the PCC Testing Center. Or if you're out of the Portland area, you can go to a college or university near you and take it in person. It might be a fee if it's not through PCC. And there are some dates, depending on the term, this might change. So look at the calendar for the particular dates. Okay, so that's our general pattern. And once you get into it for the first couple weeks, you'll get a feel for it, okay? And there's a lot of time within that week, right? So be sure, you have the flexibility with an online class to where you can structure it to meet for what works with your schedule, right? Okay, now here's a week by week of which content we're going to do each week. So module 0 is the first 3 days, maybe 2, because you want to, by Wednesday, hopefully you're starting the content, but I know there's a lot going on in the first week. Be sure to do these 3 things before the end of Wednesday. And then these are the things that are due, but these are all the things that you need to do in order to do those. And then in each module, you'll see these sections are for the online textbook for reference. Okay, so I probably wouldn't start with the textbook. I would start with the videos and the lecture. And then if you want a little bit more, it's better to read the book after, because it's a little bit more dense and just maybe not as user-friendly as I'd like it to be. So I would recommend using the online book until you decide if you want to buy it or not. But there are reference sections for most of the topics that we're doing. There's a few things like simulation that aren't really covered in our book very well, but I do believe the videos are comprehensive. Okay, and so then on the right column here is you'll see the things that are due. So the Module 1 lab plus a discussion that week, the MyOpen Math homework, and then the Module 1 quiz. In Module 2, there's a Module 2 lab, but no discussion required that week. There's a place for discussion, which is optional, so that's recommended to ask questions and help each other, and I will check those too. Module 2 lab, MyOpen Math homework, and Module 2 quiz. Okay, so you're seeing the pattern. Module 3 lab plus discussion, MyOpen Math homework, Module 3 quiz. In Module 4, that's a little different because we're getting close to the midterm. So Module 4 is just a little bit shorter, and then so you can prepare for the midterm. Then we'll have the midterm in week 5, and then we have half a module in week 5. Okay, so it's kind of half the content of a regular module because you'll be taking the midterm. Then 6, 7, 8 look very similar. Depending on what term, if there's Thanksgiving holiday, module 9 might be 2 weeks. In a other term, it's 1 week as usual. And then our final, a review for the final, and then our final. Okay, so that gives you an idea of all the content. Let's see what's next. Okay, so I will make another video for this. So you'll be filling out a information form on whether you want to take your test virtually or not, or whether you want to take it on campus. So I'll make another video that goes through all of this information. It's pretty detailed, but I've been doing it before and it's working really well. So I think it's a really nice option. It's so that nobody is required to come to campus who's taking an online class. Okay, so after you read through that information, then there's a form here to get the information from you on how you prefer to take your test. Okay, so please fill that out. The next thing you'll be doing is your MyOpenMath account. You need to create your account, and there's an orientation. Okay. This is an optional discussion for any questions you have when you're getting started. If you're like, I can't find this, or, can you help me with that? Feel free to post there. You can post anonymously in this one. And also you're welcome to answer a student if you know the answer. And I will be checking for these as well. Okay, and then the last thing to do in the first week, sorry, not the first week, the first module, module 0, is the student info assignment. So this is where I would like to get some information from you to help serve you better. So it's just a few questions here. Helps me get to know you and learn about where you're coming from. So you can write the answers to these questions, and then you'll be uploading that in this folder right here. Okay. So you can click on that. Anytime you're going to upload something, it will be in the Assignments tab. So it's a shortcut. If you went away from D2L and came back, you could go here to this shortcut right here. Okay. Okay, so that is our module overview, module 0 overview. The last thing I want to show you in this module is the pages, the notes pages I referred to. So here is the packet. So you can buy this from the bookstore, and it comes 3-hole punched, so you can put it in a binder, or you can print it yourself. You can see it's 99 pages. It's quite a few pages. There's a lot of material in this class, but it's really great material. And there's a lot of graphs and screenshots on these notes pages. So you can see we're going to start with a survey. And these are the notes pages that I'm writing on in the videos, and then you can write on these as well. Okay, so please do get those printed. You can also check your library. Since the pandemic, some libraries have been doing free printing. I'm not sure if they still are, but check Multnomah County or whatever county you're in, check their library. One more resource is I'll probably show these again in the next video, but we're going to be using a lot of technology in this class. We're going to be using simulation. And so here I've just put together a link of all the applets we're using for quick reference. And then also we have our class data sets right here. So these are things you might come back to over and over again. So that's why I put the class resources right there. Okay, so that is our Module 0 overview. And in the next video, I'll go through a kind of a typical week, and we'll look at Module 1. And and then another video will be MyOpenMath. Okay, great. Thank you for watching this. You can get started do Module 0 first if you want, then come back to Module 1. It's up to you. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.